One thing much scarier than death is the total loss of one's sanity. The mind is a fragile thing. Simple things like drugs or traumatic experiences can do a lot to disrupt our sense of reality. Once you're down the rabbit hole of insanity, it can be difficult or even impossible to come back. Today, we look into the story of a young single mother on Reddit who took a trip down this rabbit hole and never came back. On August 6th, 2015, a young woman made a Reddit account named "Is There Life After Lyme?" and made her first post to the Lyme disease subreddit. We learn a few things from her first post. She had been experiencing things such as brain fog, depression, vision problems, and memory loss, when a year prior to this post, she had been diagnosed by a Lyme-literate medical doctor with congenital Lyme disease. She's been on treatment for a while, but hasn't been feeling any better. She also goes into detail about her 5-year-old daughter and how she's beginning to show symptoms of Lyme disease as well. Due to her being a single mother, she struggles financially, which makes it difficult to do what is best for her daughter. As a result of all of this, she's beginning to feel suicidal. In the comments section, she reveals even more telling information about the situation. She talks about how each vial of her treatment tincture cost over $150 and goes on to say about her doctor that she is very defensive and gets angry if I suggest that I'm not improving. She tells me, "Oh, but you are improving. You just don't see it yet." The doctor apparently only uses Byron White formula because they are against using antibiotics, which is actually where the most successful treatment comes from. To make matters worse, this doctor is the only LLMD in her area, so she can't see anyone else. For good reason, this led a lot of concerned people to believe that she was being scammed by her LLMD. Some people even questioned whether or not she actually had Lyme disease at all. The symptoms she mentioned earlier aren't common Lyme disease symptoms, and she said herself that she has tested negatively for Lyme multiple times. Her LLMD tells her the reason she tests negative is because it's congenital Lyme disease. Anytime someone tries to approach this woman about their skepticism, she becomes very defensive. Already, we can see the situation isn't looking so great. In her next post, she talks more about the Byron White formula she's taking as treatment. She says they cause her to herx, which is just an unpleasant reaction Lyme sufferers experience during their treatment. Some of the symptoms this formula makes her experience are hallucinations and catatonia. In her later posts, she reports worsening symptoms, which include extreme vertigo, paralysis, hearing voices, and psychotic episodes. In one of her posts, she recounts a specific event in which she was at the grocery store and voices were screaming at her, telling her what to buy. We can see the first cracks in her sanity begin to form as she suddenly starts posting about bizarre conspiracy theories. These theories included things like people from the Pizzagate conspiracy trying to cover up the truth about Lyme disease, how people in the child-free subreddit are part of a program to desensitize people to having children, a pizza place called Comet Ping Pong not actually existing, and a lot more. These posts were outlandish, but at least the things she was typing were actually able to be understood, which didn't last for long. The final post is her life after Lyme made before she went full out psychotic, was a post titled, "Herxes are getting worse." She explained that her symptoms from the formula she's using are getting worse. When she took it on Sunday night, she began shaking uncontrollably and then passed out, only to wake up later vomiting. She spent the remainder of the day in and out of consciousness experiencing vivid hallucinations. This post is particularly alarming because she notes that her living situation has gotten so bad that her daughter says she wants to kill herself. This is when everyone in the comments started telling her that what she was going through was not normal and that she needed to see a real doctor for both her and her daughter's sake. But it was too late. Her next post was titled, "My ex of 3 years and his new girlfriend are trying to ruin my life and steal my daughter." This post has been removed, and even using recovery websites like Removed It won't let me see what the post said. We can only assume that her ex found out what was going on and took custody of her daughter for safety reasons. Although we can't see what the post says, it's apparent through the comments that this was the point where Is There Life After Lyme lost the ability to even put together coherent sentences. For the next several months, she made posts full of gibberish in various subreddits. They only got worse with time. In her rambling, she would mention things like Katy Perry, Beatles music, and Morgellons, which is a skin condition where people feel like there are bugs moving beneath their skin. She would also repeat the word hing and hinging a lot. Whether this means anything to her, I don't know. Another weird thing she did was that she would translate some of her text into Arabic and then post that. Here's where things start to get really weird. Near the end of Is There Life After Lyme's posts, she started to create threads titled, God has entered my body, like a body my same size. Sound familiar?
God entered into my body, like a body my same size, like me floating into you or you floating into me.
That's the exact same phrase uttered by Bob Hickman, the guy that I covered in my last video. This is almost certainly connected to Bob Hickman. There's no way this is a coincidence. In one of her posts, she even mentions the name Bob several times, which is probably her talking about Hickman himself. Now, I still don't know the full connection between her and Bob Hickman. Hickman has been making his videos for over a decade, whereas Is There Life After Lyme only started making God posts about a month or so ago. It's possible she just came across Hickman through his ads that he puts on YouTube, and in her state of mind, thought it made sense. There might not even be a real connection here. What happened here is really upsetting. Seeing the progression of someone who is, for the most part, sane-minded go to someone who is totally nuts is just depressing, especially not being able to do anything about it. There is, however, a reason to be skeptical. First, we need to consider how someone this far gone is even able to function at all. Just read some of the posts yourself. This person isn't Bob Hickman level crazy. Even he could write in an intelligible way. Is There Life After Lyme seems like she wouldn't even be able to leave her house without making a scene at this point. Yet, she's been active on Reddit for years after the breakdown. How is she getting food? Money? It doesn't seem possible that she could have made it this far without any type of intervention happening. Another important detail I want to point out is the Arabic text she would include in a few of her posts. Take your post, cease to exist, for example. None of this makes sense. A lot of things are misspelled, there are plenty of capitalization errors, and the punctuation is off. Yet, when you translate the Arabic text that she put in there, it looks like this. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close, especially compared to what we just read. So how are we supposed to believe that someone that can't even form a sentence properly was able to type this up perfectly and put it through a translator? It just doesn't add up. Now, on the flip side of the coin, this person has been posting for 3 years now. They're still making posts periodically. If they had received a bunch of media attention up to this point, then I can understand why they continue. But these posts hardly get any attention at all. I don't see how even a highly dedicated troll could be entertained with this for this long. That alone is enough to at least consider that this is legitimate. Even if this account is real, there isn't very much that we can do for them. Some people have tried getting in touch with them, but they're never able to have a real conversation with this person. We just have to hope that this person's friends or family will realize what's going on at some point. Overall, if this is real, let's hope something can be done about this. And if it's a hoax and the creator of it is watching this, then good job, because this is pretty convincing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side. Hey guys, first I want to say this video is not sponsored. I'm not being paid to say this. I just wanted to get this out there. A fan of mine recently sent me his book. It's called Bittersweet, 14 Macabre Tales of Love and Loss, and it's pretty much just a collection of short horror stories that he wrote. And I only read the first 3 so far, and I thought that they were actually really good. My favorite one is the third one. It has a very Black Mirror vibe to it. So if you want to check it out and give him some recognition, you can actually check out the book on Amazon. It's only $3, and I'll leave a link to that in the description.